The 2015-16 legislative session is underway in Harrisburg. State Representative Joe Emrick is entering his third term in service to the 137th Legislative District and is here to talk about what's ahead for him and also for the legislature. Representative, thanks for joining us. First of all, the committee process is already underway, and that is the first gate, so to speak, that bills have to go through before they hit the floor. What committees have you been assigned to for this term?
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for having me on today. The first one is a new committee for me. It's called the Professional Licensure Committee. That is chaired by Lehigh Valley Representative Julie Harhart. I'm also on the Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee, the Game and Fisheries Committee, and Human Services as well. Okay.
You've also been appointed a Deputy Majority Whip for the first time. What are those duties?
Yeah,
what are those duties about, or what do they entail?
It's very exciting, actually, and it was a nice surprise. The new Majority Whip, Brian Cutler from Lancaster County, had asked me to be a Deputy Whip. So they really take on a couple of responsibilities. First is to assist with counts on critical pieces of legislation that may be coming up for a vote. So each of us are assigned a number of our colleagues, and we have to communicate with them directly, that group of representatives, to get their position, whether they're for or against. We also have the responsibility of taking any questions they may have, being able to assist them with information on things they may not be sure about, and then also communicate that back to the Majority Whip and share any concerns that the other representatives may have moving forward. So,
back in the district, one of the things you initiated last year was a Veterans Outreach Program, which was done very well. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's actually an excellent program, and it's run through a state agency with a similar name to a veterans group. It's through the Pennsylvania American Legion, which is funded through the state budget. Once a month, on the first Monday of the month, Gina Svoboda comes to our Nazareth office, and she helps veterans who may have problems, who may have questions, who may need assistance, but also to find out what veterans benefits they may be eligible for. And it's been an incredible program. It's been well received, and many of our veterans and our constituents have taken advantage of that, to the point where I know we've been contacted by some other representatives in the area to see how they can set up the same program. So it's been fantastic.
Simple as making an appointment.
Yeah, yep. Just call either our Mount Bethel office or our Nazareth office, and give them your name and information, and they'll set up an appointment for you. And again, it's the first Monday of every month.
We do want to mention the appointments are all taken in the Nazareth office only.
That is correct. That is correct. Gina comes to the Nazareth office only. Yep, okay. That is correct.
Finally, as we mentioned, committees have already started. We have a new governor who's going to be offering his budget address in early March. What are some of the important issues you think face the legislature as we move into 2015?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting budget address with new governor, Governor Wolf. We have a number of things that are going to have to be tackled. One is a significant structural deficit. It's approximately $2 billion at this point. It does appear that revenues for the state are coming in higher than expected, which is good, but it's not going to be nearly enough to make up that difference. So that's obviously the first question: how are we going to close that gap? A significant part of that gap, and a related issue, is the pension crisis that we're facing. For sure, that pension obligation just for the state continues to go up about $500 to $600 million each year, to the point where it's a crisis at this point. So that's another significant issue that we're going to have to address, along with all the companion legislation that will come around the budget as well.
You mentioned pensions, and a loaded question, but pensions deal obviously and impact education funding. How critical is education funding to the Lehigh Valley, an area which continues to grow? Yeah,
well, I think we've seen over the last 4 years that is one area where education is critical. And being a former teacher myself, I certainly understand the value of education, and knocking on all the doors we knock on and things we do. It's certainly one of the top priorities of not only our school districts, but our constituents as well.
If you have questions about this or any legislative topic, we'll show you email addresses and telephone numbers you can use in just a few seconds. This has been Legislative Report with your State Representative, Joe Emrick.